Before we started sitting, we were talking about time and how in a relative sense, sometimes we have to be on time, and in an ultimate sense, you're on time always, because it's the present time when you arrived. That said, how beholden we are to that construct of time. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be on time for appointments or work or whatever. We shouldn't be on top of time management in a relative sense. Can we manage that without an inner disturbance? But my experience, and I think most people's experience, is when you're struggling with time management, it creates an incredible level of stress and anxiety and frustration, much more towards other people that suddenly are in our way than the fact that we're mismanaged time. Had we left a little bit earlier, had we gotten up a little earlier, had we not stayed up so late, whatever it might be. But it's just, this is not the topic for today, and it's certainly not a statement about you guys coming in late. I'm just grateful I'm grateful you're here. No, all I'm saying is it's interesting to me how things, and this is, I think, a big part of the practice, and maybe it does tie into what I wanted to talk about today, is that how quickly I am to let myself off the hook to be responsible or accountable for what I'm struggling with, when really the struggle is really always mine. And it doesn't mean other people don't do things to harm us or disrupt us or cause us difficulty. It just means that, first and foremost, my response to whatever I'm facing is what I need to be accountable for and responsible for. In fact, it's the only thing I can be responsible for and have some management of. So even when someone has done us wrong in the worst possible way, that situation, that experience is over, and generally my suffering is ruminating about it once it's over. And but in the sense of kind of life's what we deem them trivial, but really it's the trivial shit that adds up that we don't deal with, that explodes into the major stuff. So life is, we have the power to make life so much easier for ourselves. If we know we have an issue with time management and that we suffer over that stress of mismanaging time, then we need to do things, take actions, create habits that change that. And while we're trying to do that, we do have some say over our mind state and our emotional state, not over its rising, but over what we do with it when it rises, to change the experience. I mean, whether we're late or not, we get frustrated, and traffic is always the best one, right? And Noah said to me a long time ago, not to me, but to everybody, but to me personally once, he said, do you ever realize the people that you're upset about being obstacles? Well, there's people behind you feeling the same way about you. And that's not just traffic, it's in everything we do. But how upset I can be about something, and I really have the ability not to be upset at all. That it's actually a choice. not necessarily the reaction, but what I do with the reaction. So, I mean, have you had that experience? You kind of lose your shit over something, and then after you kind of come back down, you're like, man, I didn't have to do that. Why did I do that? So I think practice is, you know, that realization that we need to get out of our own way, that we can be our own worst enemy, and that things can be completely different than the habits we've created. And so the practice is about changing our relationship to these situations that trigger the harmful thinking and the harmful, unskillful actions that they cause.